forms of control. So it could be gendered, it could be, you know, like, I mean, so I want to be really clear, because the other thing is, often even those of us in this work go right to here.
Yeah.
Here are the ground rules before we're allowed to engage in conversation. So I don't believe this only belongs to whiteness. I think that's one manifestation that's really important. So I appreciate your naming it, but I think it could also be gendered. It could also be what we do. So there's something slightly generic about the pattern, and I don't want to lose that often how that pattern plays out in this particular culture is around white, male, cis, you know, so like all that's important, but I think I don't want to let us off the hook, and that we don't engage in these behaviors as well as people who are working in diversity, that we can see things going a little out of our control and want to pull it right back to what we're comfortable with.
We're working gray space a lot of times in our conversations now, other than safe space, which is another level of control.
Right, yeah, no, I think, I've shared with you that, I use the term safe enough space to like take some risks and get some good work done. But this insistence on safe space, two things. One is that it just, it denies the reality of the world. It denies the reality that many of our children are going home and they're not safe on their way home, and they may not be safe in their homes, and like, so like the safe space feels really egoic, like of the ego to me, that we're somehow like doing this thing. It puts responsibility on the facilitator instead of the group to create safe enough space. Like, how do we want to be together? And I think the other thing is just like, frankly, in activist circles, and I'll just like speak really frankly, my friend Reiko says it's about like strangling you with cotton. Like, it feels good to make all these rules to be safe, but what happens is actually we don't get anything new because we're so afraid to like move out of these rules and roles. And so we who are working for change have our own way of manifesting this, just to kind of say out loud. We have our own way of manifesting it. And, you know, and yes, it works on a structural level as well, for sure.
I feel like if you're in a situation where there's uncertainty, where there's increasing levels of diversity, where there's increasing levels of speed, you can make a case for greater participation. If you don't have one of those three things, I think it's very difficult to make a case for participation. There's no reason for me to relinquish my control. Right? The situation doesn't drive it. The circumstance doesn't drive it. I'm not going to let go of control because you tell me it's a good idea. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to let go of control because my circumstance demands it, right? Because I'm not able to get the results I need to get from the position. If we're talking about power and authority, the senior leaders who I'm working with who want to let go of control have to let go of control because they're not getting the results they need by retaining control within their office or within their particular scope. They're not getting what needs to get done. They have to distribute leadership differently. And so when you can create the realization that like, I have to let go of control to get the results I need to get, right? Then suddenly there's a crack in like, okay, so like, how do we do that? Right? How do we create the conditions for people to start stepping up and taking responsibility for the challenges they're faced with, rather than them being solved by whoever holds the power and the authority on the particular issue, whether that's a senior leader in an organization or the person who's got like the rights to talk about diversity within an organization or a situation, right? So it's like, where there's one of those three things, I feel like there's a case to be, and there's nearly always a case to be made. Massive amounts of speed. There's no way that we're going to be able to build systems, structures, products, services, whatever it is, without engagement in a situation of speed, because as soon as we build something, it's obsolete if we aren't engaging the people that we're building it for. Simple as that. Oh, you want to build a curriculum without engaging the people who are going to be accessing that curriculum? You want to go build youth sexual health services in Nova Scotia, but take 12 years to write your, which happened, take 12 years to write your strategy, you know, and then ask how to implement it, right? Well, it's completely obsolete. right?
It's that proactive, reactive piece we were talking about earlier in the cafe, right? That if we're not engaging people, we can only react. If we're proactive with people, we can anticipate. We can, somebody said that proactive is more strategic, right? And at our table, we kind of got to like, actually, we need an oscillation between proactive and reactive, but we can't do that talking to ourselves. We can only be proactive and appropriately reactive if we have more folks with us, right? The solutions just can't be developed by a small group of people. And so we actually increase our confidence at proactivity and appropriate reactivity when we're engaging more people.
Right. So if you want to get results,